What's up, you guys? It's your boy Miguel here to give you your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering how to deal with the newer tech slash new hiree slash kind of the more lazy type of tech. So to give you context, I am a night shift Xray tech. Been doing it for about 4 years, and I've noticed that when people get hired on to your company, or maybe they're brand new to the field, or maybe they haven't worked at the hospital and they're still within the what we call the training cycle, most people I've noticed, and my lady's also a nurse, and even in her world we've sat and discussed it, that depending on the person, they could be genuinely terrified, especially if they're brand new to the medical world. They just got licensed. Maybe they are very almost kind of like a advanced student, but they're still trying to follow your lead and try to see how like the workflow and trying to adjust. Even if they're been students at the establishment, they still are more precautious, because it could come off as, oh, they're just being lazy, or they don't have the incentive of like a regular tech who just move an order and then just go do it. They're more waiting on what the majority of the group does. And especially if you work at somewhere where you're surrounded by veteran techs or people who've been there a long time, they're quick to make judgments. They're quick to assess the new person to see where they're gonna put them in the, do I want to work with them? Is it gonna be a good shift or a bad shift? Just very quickly, which is very judgmental. But I've seen it many times. And even me, who work night shift is very different compared to people who work day shift. The workflow and all that, but there's been many times where people are very quick to judge, and especially the veteran techs who've been out the brand new world, like who've just been doing it so long, they're just used to work and stuff. They sometimes forget what it's like to be brand new, which I'm been doing it for 4 years, so I still remember what it was like coming in and not knowing and trying to get adjusted to the work environment and all that. So I always give a little grace period, especially if they haven't worked at our facility. But if you've been already a student, you should already come in with a little bit of knowledge, and it'll be mainly like the computer stuff and all the stuff you didn't get to do as a student type of situation, I suppose. Because I remember when I got hired, and essentially you got stuck doing all the computer stuff, which is the main stuff that as a student you didn't get to learn. But the actual job aspect of you just doing x-rays and stuff, that wouldn't have hold you back. I've seen techs that come in and they'll master the computer stuff, but then the actual getting up to do the x-ray is where some of the techs don't do that well, which is completely mind-blowing, because all you do for the past 1 to 2 years in clinicals is just do the x-ray. And in certain places they'll show you all the computer stuff, but it's just wild. Depending on where you work at, there's like a 4-week, 6-week training situation that happens, and you're kind of given this kind of grace window. We've had techs that they've been here 2 weeks, and already the manager has already gotten a list of complaints from them, which boggles my mind sometimes. At my current establishment, we have a situation going on which kind of brought me, and I've sat and observed this person. And it's just interesting versus like how other people will talk and the experience you have. So like I'm always like, people will say stuff and I'm always quick to just wait and hold out on my opinion, because like even my partner that I work night shift with, they're just amazing, take care of job, business, and phenomenal. Everyone in my department thinks they're lazy, which boggles my mind, because I'm like, they're always like, Miguel, how do you work with this person? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we get shit done and like we take care of business, like there's no problem. And then they're like, oh, we've had to work with them in daytime and this and that. And then I'm like, people are very quick to judge. I mean, and other times there have been people who are just lazy and don't really make it in the medical field or can't keep up with the pace. And they just maybe deserve to be at a clinic or somewhere slower pace and stuff like that. So it's always a little gray period of a few weeks of, I would take it with anyone starting a new job, especially if you're brand new to the actual field. I would say just watch the person, do your best to train them or educate them and all the stuff that you've learned or stuff that maybe would help you. Because I mean, I was fortunate enough to be one of the students who worked and was at clinicals, and all the techs that are still techs took me under the wing and they're like, hey, this is what we do, da 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 da. And then when I came in, I just literally smoothly transitioned, and it literally took like 1 to 2 days to understand everything. And then I was just lock and loaded, and I could match, like maybe not as fast as some of the veteran techs could, but I would literally keep up and be able to keep up with the work pace and be able to take care of business, which obviously if you can take care of business and get the job done, I mean, there's been promotions and raises, well, mainly raises that you can be able to achieve, which I'm fortunate enough that I have. Obviously, night shift is completely different as far as the work conditions and how the work is spread versus nighttime versus daytime. I feel like daytime, even if you're a weak link or not the best, like the team could carry you still. I've seen it many times where that happens and people complain, and then the manager learns, but the job still gets done and they just get carried on through the day. Versus nighttime, if one's lacking, okay, maybe they're having a bad day or maybe something's going on occasionally, it's like, fine, whatever, I'll carry the team. But sometimes if they're not really keeping up with the pace and they're just being lazy at nighttime, and when it's just like, especially just two people, like it's straight cut and throat, you're gonna get burnt out, or the manager, like it's gonna like either you're gonna talk to the person and take care of business, or like, hey, how can I help you, or hey, what's going on, and like quick to take care of the buzz or take care of, like, even me, who's like a super high level competitive, like high tier level, like let's get shit done, like just take care of business, like high tier getting work, overtime, like top, like I'll be just on top of it. And then sometimes maybe I'll be sick, or maybe I just don't feel good, and like even my person who I work with can like easily tell, like, hey, something's going on, like he's not performing as optimal, or he's not on top of it as he should would. Like every time that happens, like mother texts like, hey, I noticed this, and then I'm like, yeah, this is going on, or maybe I'm not feeling too good, I need to take off. So it's always important to communicate. So I would hold off judgment, because you never know what's going on outside. But even then, you shouldn't really let the outside world interfere with your work, because at the end of the day, you're a patient who can't breathe, or like you have been hired to do a job, to do a task that, regardless of what's going on, just needs to get done. And Gotta save some people's lives. Take care of business. Yeah, it's been where we go. See you on the next one.